All right, let's get right into it. If you're a Java developer, you've probably used the switch statement a million times. But did you know that in Java 17, it got a complete and total makeover? Seriously, it's not just that old control flow statement anymore. It's now this super powerful expression. So today, we're going to break down exactly what changed and how it's going to make your code cleaner, way safer, and just so much easier to read.
So let me ask you something. Think about the last time you wrote a switch statement. Was it full of break keywords everywhere? Did you have to, declare a variable outside the block, then assign it inside every single case? If that sounds familiar, you might be living in the Java dark ages. But don't worry, we're about to bring you right into the future.
I mean, the difference is just night and day, right? On the left, you've got the classic switch. A little clunky, a bit verbose, and honestly, kind of prone to bugs. And on the right, that's where we're headed. Clean, concise, expressive. Getting from that old way to the new way is exactly what we're going to unpack.
To really appreciate how great the new switch is, we first have to remember why the old one was, well, kind of a pain. It was a tool we all used, for sure, but it came with some real headaches that every single developer has bumped into.
And here they are, the usual suspects. First, that infamous accidental fall-through. You forget one little break statement, and boom, your code just keeps on executing, causing some really weird bugs. Then there's just all the boilerplate, so many breaks cluttering up your code. And finally, assigning a value was always so clumsy. You had to declare a variable outside the switch, then carefully set it in each case. It worked, but man, it was never pretty.
Okay, so the first and maybe biggest change is this. Switch isn't just a statement that does something anymore. Now it's also an expression that evaluates to something. It can actually return a value. And that right there is a total game changer.
And just so we're all on the same page, what's an expression? It's simple, really. It's just any piece of code that produces a single value. Like 1 plus 1 evaluates to 2. Well, now a whole switch block can do that too.
And here it is in action. See that? The entire switch block is on the right side of the equal sign, and whatever value it spits out gets placed directly into the result variable. No more temporary variables, no more clunky setup. It's just clean, direct, and way less likely to cause a bug.
This brings us to the next fantastic upgrade, the one that finally fixes that ancient fall-through problem. It's time to say goodbye to the break statement and hello to the new arrow syntax.
Just look at this. On the left, the old way. You've got your colon, then your code, and then that mandatory break. On the right, that colon is just replaced with a little arrow, and that's it. The code on the right of the arrow runs, and then the switch automatically ends. No break, no fall through, no bugs. Simple.
The wins here are huge and immediate. Your code is instantly cleaner and so much easier to understand at a glance. You literally eliminate an entire category of bugs related to forgetting a break. It's just more concise, and you know what? It feels more intuitive, more like what you actually meant to write in the first place.
So the arrow syntax is perfect for simple one-line actions. But what happens when you need to do a bit more work? What if a single case needs a few lines of logic before it can come up with a value? Well, Java has an answer for that too.
This is probably the question you're asking right now, isn't it? This is great for simple stuff, but my logic is way more complicated than that. And you're right. The people who designed this feature knew that, and they gave us a brand new keyword to solve it. For those more complex cases, you just use a code block, curly braces, right after the arrow. Inside that block, you can go wild, have as many lines of code as you need, declare variables, call methods, whatever. Then, when you're ready to provide the value for the switch expression, you use the new yield keyword. Just think of yield as being like the return statement, but specifically for a switch case block. And now we get to the final evolution, and honestly, this might be the most powerful one of all: pattern matching. This is what transforms switch from a simple value checker into this really sophisticated type-safe tool for working with different kinds of objects.
Remember this? We've all had to write code like this chain of if-else-if statements. You check the type with instance of, and then you still have to manually cast the object to that type before you can actually use it. It's so repetitive, it's easy to make a mistake, and it's just not fun to read.
And now, check out the new way it's so clean. You can switch directly on an object, and your case labels can check for a type. But here's the magic. If the type matches, it automatically casts the object for you and binds it to a new variable, like I or S here, that you can use right away. It's a type check and a cast, all in one beautiful, safe operation. Now, just a quick but important heads up here. In Java 17 specifically, this pattern matching for switch was a preview feature. All that means is that it was fully working, but you had to explicitly turn it on. It was a way for developers to try it out and give feedback before it became a standard, permanent part of the language in later versions.
Okay, let's put it all together. These aren't just a few random changes. They really form a completely new, modern toolkit for how you handle conditional logic in Java.
So here it is, your 4-step checklist for modernizing your switch statements. 1. Start using switch as an expression to make assignments cleaner. 2. Adopt the arrow syntax to get rid of breaks and all those nasty fall-through bugs. 3. When things get complicated, use code blocks and yield to produce a value. And 4. Embrace pattern matching to handle different object types with safety and elegance.
And that's the story of the Java Switch makeover. It's more expressive, it's safer, and it's just so much more powerful than it used to be. So the only question left is, how is this new toolkit going to change the way you write code?